The Nigerian Army has dismissed reports of mass resignations by soldiers over corruption and low morale as misleading and an attempt to tarnish its reputation. Responding to claims making rounds in the media, the Army clarified that service is voluntary, allowing personnel to disengage according to established procedures. In light of this, News Central's Igbalaniyi Omoniyi assesses the impact of the alleged resignation to national security.
The Nigerian military is one of the largest uniformed combat services in Africa, with more than 330,000 active personnel. These numbers are, however, getting threatened each year. In 2023 alone, 59 soldiers were approved for retirement, while 196 soldiers resigned in August this year, according to media rounds. The previous years saw 261 soldiers resign in 2022, 127 in 2021, and 365 in 2020, making a staggering 1,008 soldiers that have resigned from the Nigerian Army in the last 4 years, sparking concerns about the country's security architecture.
So again, you're experiencing a military that is constantly on the war front, dealing with threats, ranging from insurgencies that have been in the country for over a decade. It's always concerning for any military to see a high number of people leaving because, of course, you want to retain as many military personnel that you have trained over time. You've spent a lot of money to train, but people always, would have a reason to leave, for personal reasons, for family relations, maybe just as a result of the fact that they don't get enough pay.
A soldier's basic monthly salary ranges from 49,000 to 1.7 million naira depending on rank, according to the Nigerian Army website. Allowances such as hazard pay and duty tour allowance are also reportedly inadequate. But it seems the reasons for the resignations are deeper than welfare packages.
Axis of Sapana, Basari, Dutsema, Kankara, Damusa. We know where these people are. It's just because the authorities have not shown the political will to eliminate these terrorists. That's why I support soldiers who don't want to continue to die needlessly for a battle where the government don't have the political will to finish the terrorists. The right thing is, you resign. You resign.
Reacting to the development, Director of Army Public Relations Major General Yema Nwachukwu stated that service in the Nigerian Army is not conscripted and soldiers are free to leave for medical or personal reasons.
I think I should appeal to our media to play down some of this most times instead of hyping it and causing a lot of tension within the military and the society. Some of the allegations made of corruption in the military. If there are corruption, yes, it should be condemned, but I don't think that is why the troops, the non-commissioned officer, the rank and file, should be leaving.
As the country grapples with the implications of these developments, there are growing calls for the authorities to urgently address the issues to stem further resignations and boost morale within the armed forces. In Lagos for News Central, I am Igbalaniyi Omoniyi.
To discuss this, we're joined by the National Secretary, retired members of the Armed Forces, Roy Okhidievbie. Roy, thank you for joining us on the news. As a former military personnel, what would you say are some of the leading causes of retirement from the Nigerian Army?
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity, and I really appreciate News Central for taking this direction in this narrative. Now, you can see that one thing we don't value in Nigeria is content and future utilization. Now, we have so many people that have been trained in Nigeria. If out here in the US, most of the things I do are intellectual and intelligent military and security applications. And I'm very valued, and I met so many other Nigerians outside of Nigeria in different countries that we collaborate with, and they are held in high esteem, but unfortunately, one of the things that destroys our interest in the Nigerian military to continue to serve is the exit plans that is obvious to everyone. You know, the moment you are leaving the service, there is no other thing for you. And the soldiers are the most loyal in the world, because you can never see the highest of statistics of military veterans that are involved in criminal activities in Nigeria, banditry and all of that. If you take note, it is very minimal. And if you look at the officer cadre, they leave also, but you cannot see that statistics. And one of the areas where they leave to is when a junior officer is promoted to be the chief of army staff and all his superiors are retired unceremoniously. You know, and these things destroys the morale of the troops.
How does Nigeria's military resignation rate compare to international standards, and what are some of the shifts that we need to make?
Yes, you know, there is always a transition plan. We are not asking for anything. There are transition plans like the SDA, Security Department Allowance. It's an allowance that is supposed to be paid to you in bulk, that you are supposed to go into other economic activities that you want to do for yourself and your family. You know, but as I speak to you, they have trickled it into 3 years. And sometimes they pay you every quarter, they'll pay you like 20,000 naira or something. And that's an economic plan for you. Then another thing is your medical, your health plan. So many soldiers that got injuries during the battle in Nigeria, within Nigeria, you know, they are exited from military plans, you know, and we are seeing a lot of downgraded medical attention for military veterans. Then your housing. So many people want to steal and get housing for themselves, you know, because when you come out, you are going to be living amongst the bandits and the criminals whom you were fighting against when you were in service, you know, and your children, you know, the children don't have scholarship, you know, you will see politicians giving scholarships to orphans and all that. The soldiers' children, the ones that died, and the women too. What's the empowerment? You know, people go and do empowerment for other people. All right.
Roy, in the interest of time, one of the issues that was raised for resignation are personal reasons. And one is, you know, there might be other reasons, but considering the nature of work that soldiers undertake, from your experience and interactions with others, do you think the military has adequate resources to support soldiers struggling with work-related challenges, mental health issues, and their general well-being? And if there is a drop in the ball, what needs to be done?
You need to understand the present conditions of the military in Nigeria. What a soldier carries immediately he wears his uniform is patriotism. It's because of patriotism. Now, the mental health reform system that is given to Boko Haram in de-radicalization, soldiers don't see it. Even soldiers that came from frontline that have been there for like 3 years, 4 years, that they are supposed to be redeployed and reshuffled frequently. Now, if you want to talk about mental health also, there is no capacity building for mental health. The medical system in Nigeria, from Nigerian military, does not have a medical mental health process where you get trauma care for yourself. Even the ones the United Nations brought, everything is diverted for personal interest. You know, so
okay, quickly, I'm told I don't have the room for another question, but I'll just chip this in quickly. As somebody with experience, how would you suggest that the military begins to address this issue? Because it is imperative.
The first thing that they need to look at is the exit plan. Why will I want to be a journalist? Because maybe when I leave, I can start something. Why will I want to risk my life for the country? Because I will be recognized at the airport. Military men, veterans should board first. At the banks, they should be given consideration for loans to start businesses. At medical places, they should be given the highest level of medical attention. Their wives, their children should be recognized in all the palliatives that is going on. Palliatives have been given to civilians, citizens now. Military people are still in queue for their own palliatives, begging and protesting every day. In Nigeria, there is not going to be an Armed Forces Remembrance Day in 2025. All of us outside who are coming back into Nigeria, it's going to be peaceful, but there will not be Armed Forces Remembrance Day 2025 January.
That's a strong statement to make. That is probably your way of saying people are not happy with the way retirees are being treated. That conversation for another day. We'll just thank you now for speaking with us. We appreciate your time and insight.